What is up, guys? Today we're going to go over an upcoming Pokemon set. In Japanese, it's called Black Bolt, White Flame, and it's rumored to be a Generation 5 Unova Pokedex remake. We're going to go over three things. That's going to be the products, the Pokedex, and what this means for the future. The first thing we're going to go over is the products. Right now, it seems to be a specialty set. So it comes with all the specialty items like ETBs, binder collection, poster collection, mini tins, text stickers, booster bundles. The interesting thing about this set is that it seems to be rumors about whether it is going to be a dual set or just one combined set. Now, Japan, this isn't a foreign concept, but for English, this is, because the marketing seems to be very geared towards Zekrom and Reshiram, which makes sense. But having two type of legendaries is not uncommon. Just like Scarlet and Violet, we had Miraidon and Koraidon, and we had two different ETBs for that, but the idea of in English, it being two complete sets, I just don't know how they would do it. It would just like, which set of the Pokedex would go with Reshiram and what side of the Pokedex would go with Zekrom. It would just be weird. In my opinion, I think it'd be a really weird scenario to be in. I think they've already seen that with 151, the whole Pokedex type of sets has done really well. So to split up Gen 5, it would just be weird. I think they just stick with it and move forward. But there are some rumors that with this kind of dual typing set, that there could be two different artworks, especially with the booster bundle, which we have not seen before. In my opinion, really cool to see two different ETBs and even two different booster bundles. It kind of adds another collectability of the set. But nonetheless, it'd be interesting to see, as long as they don't break up the set into two different factions. Again, that would be weird. Now, as for the ETBs, I'm really excited for that. I really liked the Scarlet and Violet kind of aesthetic where it was the Koraidon ETB with its own promo and then the Miraidon ETB with its own promo. I think it'd be super cool to see something like that for Zekrom and Reshiram, see a dedicated Reshiram promo for the ETB and a dedicated Zekrom promo for the ETB. I think that'd just be really cool. It would give it kind of more breathing room to do two different illustrations for the two different types of Pokemon. You have a lightning and you have fire. Again, for the booster bundle, cool idea. I mean, we haven't seen kind of like a dual type of, or even just a multi-type of artwork for the booster bundle. So if they end up continuing on this path, I could honestly see it end up being just like the booster packs, where there ends up being multiple type of artworks for the booster bundles, and then it ends up being just another collectability for those products. Essentially, just how people like the art set kind of completion for booster packs, I can imagine that if they develop multiple arts for the booster bundles, it can turn into people wanting an art set of the booster bundles. I don't know. To me, Pokemon is all about collecting, so I try to see a collecting aspect to all types of things regarding products and cards and illustrations. All right, but now into the main subject matter. We have Generation 5 Unova Pokedex. Personally, I did not play Generation 5. I stopped right at Generation 4. I've always been a Pokemon fan. I just kind of lost playing the games right at that moment. So for me, it's really cool to see a Generation 5 potential come out because it can kind of immerse me into that Pokedex and really make me fall in love with those Pokemon. And I mean, there's a lot of bangers in the Generation 5 Pokedex. You have Pokemon like Zoroark, Hydreigon, I don't know how you pronounce it, Chandelure, Snivy, Superior. Who else do you have? You have Zekrom, Reshiram, Volcarona, Haxorus, Excadrill, Sawsbuck, Scrafty, Genesect, Keldeo, Meloetta. You have Curum. Then you have all the elemental people like Thundurus and Landorus. And then also like those deer legendary Pokemon. I mean, a lot of Pokemon in this Pokedex. The only thing that's interesting is that a lot of these Pokemon have received kind of like recent illustrations. I mean, you've had recent illustrations of those deer and like animal Pokemon, the legendary ones, but obviously they're their future variant. You had a lot of Zekrom in the trainer gallery of Sword and Shield. You had Reshiram recently with En's Reshiram. You had Braviary recently. Samurott coming back with his Hisuian Samurott in Sword and Shield. And that's just to name a few. However, all of that doesn't mean that they don't need to make more illustrations. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to create these Pokemon again in different illustrations. However, in my opinion, this does mean that they're probably going to take their time to do more obscure, different Pokemon that haven't seen illustrations as of recently, which is kind of like a double-edged sword because the Pokemon we've seen as of recently are there for a reason because they're popular and they're cool and they made illustrations for them. So the ones they haven't done yet are probably not been done for a reason because they're not as popular. So I don't know. It's a mixed bag. I don't really know how to feel about it. However, the illustrations for the new modern sets have been really cool and really interesting. So even if it's a Pokemon that I don't care for, like Trubbish or Garbodor, I'm sure they're going to do it justice. Personally, for me, I'm just really excited for the starters. Just like Scarlet and Violet 151, obviously it was a Pokedex type of entry. And so I'm excited to see 3 evolutions of all 3 starters and see them kind of like in a habitat. Seeing the Kanto starters, Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur evolve through their illustrations makes me excited to see Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott in their evolutions. I'm always a fan for any Pokemon and illustrations being in their native environment, so I'm excited to see that for these starters. And honestly, I'm not that much of an Emboar fan, but I could see Superior in its native environment. I could see Samurott in its native environment. I don't know what a native environment for Emboar looks like, so I'm excited to see that. I mean, just like Incineroar, the only thing I can see is it inside of a wrestling arena. Now, the biggest overarching thing for me regarding this set is what this means for the future of TCG products. Because assuming that all of this is true, they come out with a true native Pokedex for Generation 5 set. I mean, what does that mean when they've already done Generation 1 and now they've done another one for Generation 5? Assuming all of these rumors are true, what does that mean when they've already done a Generation 1 Pokedex set and then now they're doing a Generation 5 Pokedex set? To me, this means this is going to be somewhat of a focus going forward. What does that mean? That means Generation 2 is up for grabs, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, which I think is amazing. I think if they do a Pokedex type of set in each era of Pokemon, it would go amazing with the fan base. One, I think would bring people back into the hobby. For example, if they stopped being involved in Pokemon from Generation 2 and up, or Generation 3 and up, or 4, etc. I think if they did a dedicated Pokedex set for Generation 2, it would bring back those lovers, 3, 4, etc. 2, I think it's a no-brainer type of set. And in the sense that they don't have to really think a lot. It's just, okay, guys, we have this little run of a couple of months where we don't know what to put out. Okay, let's just do a Pokedex type of set. They don't have to think about what Pokemon goes into it. It's just a Pokedex set. And the only kind of real creative outlet they have to think about is the naming and the kind of theme of the artwork. Additionally, I think this will create a new niche within the collectability of the hobby. Because just imagine, eventually when they go through all the Pokedexes, now if somebody wants to do a national Pokedex collectible of Pokemon, they can now collect Scarlet and Violet 151, Scarlet and Violet Unova 156, and etc. Insert all the other Pokedex entries. I mean, to me, this is like a no-brainer. My personal favorites are Generation 3 and 4, and I would do anything to see a Pokedex set of Generation 3 with my boy Trico and Generation 4 with my boy Turtwig. Not to mention to see illustrations of Flygon and Lucario and just there's just so many Pokemon I'd love to see. That's where my mind gets going when I think about if they really do another Pokedex type of set. I mean, at that point, I feel like it's confirmed. They're just going to keep doing this. Now, how often? I'm not sure. In my opinion, I could see them doing 1 to 2 per era, which I think is good. It keeps them kind of like staggered because if they just did it one after the other, they would eventually catch up and then we'd have to wait forever to get a new one. So if Generation 5 ends up being the last one in this era of Pokemon, then the next era they can focus on 2 and it gives them a good runway where it basically creates time in between each Pokedex type of set. But enough rambling. That's my thoughts on kind of where the future of this type of set making is going. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Which Pokemon and / which sets would you like to see if they did Pokedex sets? And also for Generation 5, what Pokemon do you want to see illustrations of? I will catch you guys in the next video. Later.